SpaceX Starlink 2.0, a sky network governments can't shut down. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me. Today we're going to hang out and talk about Skynet and the dark web and SpaceX Starlink version 2.0. I find this to be fascinating because we've talked about this in the past, and many of you guys have said, SpaceX Starlink really feels like Skynet. Is it going to control everything? Is it going to be an AI that is non-terrestrial, that controls literally everything? And I've always said, no, I don't believe that, but I do believe that it could be a secondary web. Let's say a dark web, but for good doers. A dark web that is more for good and not evil. That's just my personal opinion, and that could end up being the case. I was reading a few articles about this, and they're literally kind of treading on that line. And I find it fascinating because that means that what I've predicted in the past seems to be coming to fruition. And there's a new partnership that is brewing with SpaceX, Starlink, that could make this a reality. What happens if this does become a reality? That's the big question here. So anyways, I want to get into this article with you, and then I'll give you my commentary as I always do. And then finally, I want to hear from you, as always say down below. And if you're shy, what do you need to do? Put an emoji down there. All right, put something. At least I know you actually watched the video. I would appreciate that. It helps out a lot. If you enjoy the content, throw it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, throw it a thumbs down. Google and YouTube loves it either which way. I don't know why, but they just do. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. If you have, thank you. I appreciate that. Click this little notification button over here so when I go live, when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. Also, if you want to give back, some people have said, is there a way? Can we give $1 or $2 here? And there is a way. There's a little thanks button right down there. You can click on that, give $1 or $2 if you like. You don't have to. The videos are still free. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. Also, if you want more SpaceX Starlink specific content, I've put together over, I think it's 590 videos now. I don't know. It's a lot. Just under 600 just for you. I'll put a link here. Don't click on it yet. When you're done watching this video, go back here. Click on that, and there's a ton of helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy, and of course the why behind all of it, because this channel has always been and always will be about not only the how, but more importantly, the why. Finally, if you haven't taken a look at any of my merch, check it out. Go to JCristina.com/shop. Once again, JCristina.com/shop. If there's something there you like, pick it up. Help support me and my family. SpaceX quietly unlocks a new layer of freedom. SpaceX just took Starlink to a place no one expected, beyond government reach. By partnering with Mayowan Space, Starlink is testing a persistent optical mesh network in orbit. Translation: satellites that talk to each other directly. No ground stations, no middlemen, no censorship choke points. This new backbone in space is designed to pass data at speeds up to 25 gigabits across 4,000 kilometers, completely outside the traditional internet infrastructure. Once active, it could let data flow around the world even when ground networks go dark, by design or by force. Interesting. Why this is a massive shift. SpaceX Starlink version 1.5s and 2.0 minis already use laser inter-satellite links, or ISLs, to pass data between satellites. But Mayowan's system adds something bigger: a fully autonomous optical routing layer, meaning the network can find, connect, and heal itself without human input, or a network operations center on Earth, or a NOC. If successful, this could make Starlink the first decentralized ISP in orbit, immune from traditional network blackouts, sanctions, or even censorship. A censorship-proof backbone. Imagine journalists uploading footage from war zones, researchers sharing climate data from nations that suppress it, or even ordinary users accessing the web during political shutdowns, all routed through satellites that governments can't switch off. That's what this technology hints at: A dark web of sorts in the sky, but for truth instead of crime. Governments that rely on network control as a leverage of power may soon realize they've lost their grip. Why it matters right now. SpaceX Starlink already beams internet to over 7 million users in more than 140 countries. With this new optical layer, it could evolve into humanity's first neutral internet backbone, one that lives entirely in orbit. If SpaceX Starlink deploys this across its fleet, SpaceX won't just be providing internet, it will be rewriting how the internet itself functions. The new digital frontier. For decades, nations have been building firewalls to control what their citizens could see. Now, SpaceX may be quietly building something far more powerful, an uncensorable digital highway. And if that happens, the internet will no longer belong to governments, companies, or even gatekeepers. It will belong to the people. Very powerful. I agree with this 100%. And like I said, we've talked about this in the past. I said that there was going to be a version 2 of the internet, something similar to the dark web. And I said that this could be something that SpaceX could create on orbit. Something that information flows freely and never touches the ground until it needs to. And that's exactly what they've been making with the ISL. That inter-satellite laser connectivity that forms a mesh network out of the 8,600 plus satellites that are on orbit. I did say that there would have to be some type of network operations center on orbit so that the data would not have to flow through networks on the ground. But this seems to be accomplished by this new company partnership. And if that is the case, not only are they going to have this decentralized network, let's call it a dark web of sorts, but it's going to be fully uncensored. And instead of flowing data at 10 gigabits per second, this company is going to help them move it at 25 gigabits per second. This is something very, very special. I think that this could be the next thing. Something that you go back to this video and say, you know, we discussed this before and now it's happening. And that might be 6 months from now, maybe it's a year from now, but this is happening. You know, it's kind of like that cross between Skynet that you guys are always talking about. Oh, SpaceX Starlink, it's kind of like Skynet. Well, Skynet is more of like an autonomous AI that sits in orbit that controls everything. This is kind of the exact opposite, similar but different. This will be a decentralized point, a decentralized version 2 of the internet, as I call it, Starlink version 2. Really powerful not to have a NOC or network operations center terrestrially on the ground and still be able to traverse data throughout the world in milliseconds at the speed of light using these lasers. Very powerful. This removes the downtime of cyber attacks or even natural disasters that could occur at these NOCs or these operations centers due to terrestrial infrastructure problems. Vulnerability. Obviously, we're going to have to look at space vulnerability and make sure that this is locked up, but SpaceX Starlink has this already in spades. Remember, the Chinese and the Russians have been hacking SpaceX Starlink every single day, every single hour for years now, ever since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. This has been happening ever since the beginning, and they've never gotten through. The encryption that SpaceX Starlink is using is quantum-based. What does that mean? That means it's at a level that quantum computers will not be able to crack. So today's computers is definitely not going to be able to do it. Think about that. So they already have a secure network, and now being able to put it out there as a decentralized network that no government can turn off or have control over, this could definitely free the people. And like it said at the very end of the article that I absolutely love, it said, and if it happens, the internet will no longer belong to governments, companies, or even gatekeepers. It will belong to the people. What do governments do? The governments that constantly are censoring the people. The governments that are putting new and improved firewalls continuously on their backbone so their citizens cannot get factual information, or so their citizens cannot get any information that is contrarian to, let's say, the motive or the direction of that specific government, the narrative, so to speak. This has been going on forever. Well, what happens now? When people can just get free information that's not censored, what happens? Governments are going to have to rethink how they control their people. You know, back in medieval times, I always reference this, but I think it's very apropos. They always stated this. They said, keep your citizens religious and keep them dumb, and you will always keep them under your thumb. Think about that. Keep your citizens religious and keep them dumb, and you will always keep them under your thumb. It was just a means of controlling the people, right? Whereas now the means are a firewall, a network that maybe doesn't delete comments, but let's say shadow bans comments, that floats the narrative to the top and suppresses any comments, videos, information to the bottom. Floats the narrative and pushes down what they don't want you to see. Do they get rid of it? No, they don't. But they put it on page 63, and they know that you're only going to look at page 1 and 2. That's how they do it. I think this is really powerful. Just think about activists or journalists or researchers in any type of authoritarian regime that want to communicate freely without fear of surveillance or shutdown. Now they would be able to do it. So what say you? What do you think? What do you think? You know, I wrote down something. You know, I was really trying to let this soak in, and I just wrote down something that I thought here, and I want to know your thoughts on this. I said SpaceX Starlink version 2.0 could become the Skynet of the free internet. Not the AI overlord from the movies, but a decentralized orbiting network immune to terrestrial shutdowns, like a dark web in the sky. It allows information to flow freely across borders, bypassing traditional firewalls, censorship, and political interference. With satellites talking directly to each other, SpaceX Starlink 2.0 creates a resilient, self-healing backbone where governments and gatekeepers no longer hold the keys. That's my thought. That's what I think about this. And I truly believe that this could be something for good. Whereas I know there's a lot of you in the past that have said, Joe, you know, this is getting to be that like borderline Terminator kind of stuff where this all-encompassing type of AI is ruling everything from space and we can't shut it down. I guess the biggest thought is, who runs this? And do we trust them? Do you trust Elon to run this? Because Elon will be running this for sure. There is a lot of people that cannot stand Elon. There's a lot of people that absolutely love him. He's very polarizing. You either love or hate. There's very few people in the gray area in between. I personally love him. I love what he does. I love what he stands for. And I've loved that he spent billions and billions of dollars for your freedom. Freedom from censorship. That's my personal opinion. But you might have a completely different idea. What say you? Down below. What do you think about this? Do you think it's good or do you think it's bad? Do you think it's coming like I've said about a year ago? Or do you think that this is just kind of pie in the sky and it won't come? I think it's right around the corner, guys. I think we are going to have a second web, and that web is going to be on orbit. It will not be here terrestrially. The only information that will ever hit the ground will be information that will be a receipt and a transmit. That is it. It will not be interpolated It will not be censored. It will not go through a network operations center or a NOC to be able to cipher and decipher things. Remember, it will be fully encoded. I think it'll be very similar to like a WhatsApp, end-to-end encryption. You send up encrypted information. It sends it across the world wherever it needs to be. It goes down, gets the information back, sends it back to you, fully encrypted, once again, both ways. Your system decrypts it, and now you have your data. No one, once again, no one has the ability to censor it, to change anything, to alter it. The problem with a lot of countries is they use censorship as a means to push a narrative. They do not allow their people to see anything that is contrarian to their beliefs. It's a problem, guys. It is a major problem, in my personal opinion. The US does it too. We just do it differently. In the US, it's kind of the gamification of censorship. They make it into a game, right? They throttle, they push, they shadow ban. A little bit different. Whereas if you go to India or if you go into Russia, if you go into China, it's fully banned. You can't do this, you can't do that. You can't do this, you can't do that. Period. End of story. I just spoke about it in the past video that I just did a couple of days ago. I was talking about India and I gave you an entire list of things that are banned in India that cannot be seen on the Indian internet because everything traverses their NOCs or network operations centers and everything gets 100% banned that they don't want. TikTok, for example, there's a lot of different things. I'm not going to get into them. You can watch that video. But either which way, this is not free speech. This is not free internet. This is not a freedom of information. This is a way to control the people. This is a way to proactively push a certain narrative. This SpaceX Starlink version 2 is the exact opposite of that. This really could be a means of decentralizing information throughout the world where no one can control it. It is what it is. Then you decide what you believe and don't believe. I think that that's the most important thing. I don't want a government, I don't want a people, I don't want anyone to tell me what to believe. I want to get all of the information and then discern for myself. Why should you tell me what to believe? Right? I think it's very, very important. What say you? What do you think about this? Down below. You know my thoughts. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, hopefully through SpaceX Starlink, maybe even DTC. And we'll see you in the next one. Love you guys.